making my raisin bread, and I have just looked for a recipe on the internet, so I'm not going to give you my recipe because it isn't mine, but there were a number of recipes and it was kind of difficult to decide which one to choose, but I did finally choose one, and it was a little bit unusual, but this one does use yeast. Some of them do not. And I was just a little afraid that I had overheated the liquid mixture, which is milk, water, and butter, that they wanted you to heat to 120. And rather than mixing up the yeast with the water, they recommended putting the yeast in with the dry goods and then putting your liquid in afterwards, which to me was a little unusual. But anyway, I was a little afraid that my liquid was a little too hot and may have killed the yeast, but so far so good. It is rising, and this recipe is supposed to make 3 loaves. And yeah, the only worry I had is that I'd killed the yeast, but apparently I didn't, so I'll wait a little bit longer, let this rise some more, and it should make 3 loaves. And once I've put it into 3 loaf pans and let it rise again, should have some awesome raisin bread, and it does taste good. Oh yes, there is vanilla in this recipe as well, so it smells awesome. Okay, I would say that my raisin bread has doubled in size, and if not, it's very close to it, and I am ready to split it into 3. And I've got my loaf pans just lightly buttered. Got 3 cast iron loaf pans here, and all I do is take a brush and lightly butter the bottom. Now, I want these breads to be fairly even in size, so I am going to weigh them. But I do need a dish, and I apologize for not providing the recipe, but it isn't my own. And it isn't something that I've adapted or changed in any way, shape, or form, so I'm reluctant to claim it as such. You know, there are recipes, and yeah, I struggled with which one to use. First time I've made this bread. Now, if I do adapt a recipe and make it my own, I may post it in the future, but this one here I have followed pretty much to a T, so can't do that. All right, put that aside. I have my lump of dough here, and I want 3 fairly equal portions. So let's see what we've got. I've got this zeroed out. And this is one where the raisins are throughout the whole bread, not where you roll it up with cinnamon and that. Okay. 1 pound, 11 ounces, pretty much. Let's see how close we are to equal. They don't have to be 100% equal, but close enough. 112, not bad. 111, so that one is just slightly, okay, this is 111.6, 111.4, and 112.4, so I'm just going to take a small chunk out of this one. Oh, too much of a chunk. Okay, 111.7. And 112, yeah, I think those are close enough. So, the one thing that has not been added to this recipe is cinnamon, and I'm wondering whether to do so now or not. And I'm going to say, actually the recipe calls for coating it with cinnamon sugar on the top after it's been baked. I think I'm just going to leave it as is. So and just slightly so that it does have room to expand under the wrap. If I did it too tight, it wouldn't have the room to expand. It'd be pulling on the cellophane, or what do you call it? Plastic wrap. Okay, I'm just going to do that for the time being, and then I will set them aside, probably on my stove top, just to get them out of the way. Maybe leave them here, but just not one on top of each other like that. Okay. As usual, clean up and put things away. And then we'll wait for these to double in size before we put them in the oven. They look yummy to me. Okay, they're rising, but they're still not quite ready as far as I'm concerned. So the big difference here, obviously, is that I'm leaving these to rise longer than what is suggested in the recipe, but that does happen with bread anyway. A lot of it does depend on the air, how warm it is. And this is a cool day, and probably my environment is a little on the cool side, so it's rising a bit slower. But looking good. I've got the camera on too. Okay, these are coming out of the oven for 5 minutes just to get a coating of butter and a sprinkling of sugar and cinnamon. So, and then I'll go back in the oven for about 5 to 10 minutes. And this will just help make it all nice and toasty and brown and luscious. Okay, I don't know how I'm going to sprinkle sugar, but this is just going to do it with my fingers here. Don't want to overdo it with the sugar either. And just a light dusting of cinnamon. Now I did lose one of my clips on this video, and that's when I was rolling these up. And yes, I did put a slight sprinkling of cinnamon on the inside as well. Okay, so this is going, oops, like I said, we don't want too much of this. Okay, this is going back in the oven now for another 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, my oven is calling me. My bread is ready to come out. The first loaf. And loaf number 3. Okay, well here I am, and they feel nice and tender, and I'm just going to let them sit here and cool for a couple of hours, and then we will slice them up and maybe have some after dinner. Okay, that's it for this video. Looks awesome. I hope it tastes as good as it looks. Okay, this is Tony from her Homestead Skills. Okay, thank you.